Super. Thank you. On behalf of the National Child Passenger Safety Board, thank you for joining us for Head Start and CPSTs, a match made in safety. Today, we'll be exploring how CPSTs and Head Start can partner to help keep children safe. I'm Denise Donaldson, the past Child Passenger Safety Advocate Field Rep for the National Child Passenger Safety Board, and I'll be serving as your moderator today. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box. As a reminder, attendees are requested to not participate in this webinar while operating a motor vehicle. It's being recorded and will be posted to carseateducation.org within 1 to 2 business days. For the child passenger safety technicians in attendance, the presentation is community education and does not qualify for CPST CEUs. So whether you're a CPST, someone who works in Head Start, or maybe both, we're so glad you're joining us today. My co-presenters and I developed this presentation and titled it A Match Made in Safety, as sort of a play on words, because CPS and Head Start are like a match made in heaven when it comes to mutually beneficial educational opportunities, as we'll be exploring today. But for our interactions to be meaningful, partners need to understand each other. So we hope today's webinar will both inspire those connections and help identify ways to get to know each other's goals, needs, and abilities. First, I'll be laying some groundwork about CPS and Head Start in general. And then we're really fortunate to have 2 presenters who can describe their real-life experiences with CPS education with Head Start. First, we're going to hear from Karen Gay, who is a transportation management specialist and CPST instructor with DC Vision Zero of the Washington, DC Highway Safety Office. Then we'll have Melinda Hansen, who is the Health and Nutrition Coordinator for Early Head Start and Head Start in a tribal community in Arizona, who's going to describe perspectives from a successful program that prioritizes CPS in its programming. So we've all probably heard of Head Start, but many may not know a lot of the details that are relevant for CPS education. Within the federal government, the Office of Head Start is under the Department of Health and Human Services, and it manages Head Start to provide preschool that is free to 3- and 4-year-old children from financially eligible families. Although it was developed way back in the 60s, it's periodically reviewed and reinstated, and sometimes it's expanded, like in 1995, when Early Head Start was established to serve expectant mothers and babies from birth through age 2. So what that means from a CPS perspective is that these are programs that bring together children who need to use car seats and boosters, or they're at least pre-booster age. In addition, because of its eligibility requirements, those children are from precisely the low income and underserved families that the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is our current governmental funding source, requires CPSTs to reach. Head Start's mission is both important and very lofty. Not only does it strive to prepare children to be ready for school cognitively, it must address each child's social and emotional development as well. And it also has an emphasis on child health, nutrition, and family involvement. So it takes a very holistic approach to child development. As we know, part of the whole child is safety. So within that context, my fellow presenters and I identified these 4 main audiences for CPS education. That education can be delivered in a whole variety of ways, as my co-presenters will be describing later on, but each of those ways would be geared to these 4 audiences. So first are the opportunities to train caregivers, which is a supernatural fit for CPSTs, right? Since Head Start promotes family involvement, it has requirements for parent education. So Head Start providers have consistently told me that they are extremely open to hearing from people who can partner with them to bring that parent ed to those families. Also, right in the CPST's wheelhouse is training expectant caregivers. And until a baby is born, that expectant mother is a participant in an early Head Start. And of course, preschoolers are either booster users or future booster users. So training's geared toward the children to help them learn how to always take charge of their own safety is also appropriate and fun, by the way. And for Head Start agencies that provide student transportation, trainings on how to use CSRS on school buses, whether for that education is for the drivers, for their monitors that are on the bus with them, or for the trainers who train them, that's all vitally needed. And I'll talk a little more about that specialized education later on. But first, we want to provide perhaps the most important resources for this webinar, which is the ways for CPSTs and Head Starts to find each other. First, for those joining us from Head Start, you can find individuals who are nationally certified by NHTSA as CPSTs by going to cert.safekids.org and looking under Find a Tech. There you can filter your area to find local technicians, and you can also identify techs that have additional training in school bus safety. For those interested in becoming a technician, you can also go to Find a Course to find upcoming courses and to sign up for notification if a course becomes available near you. And to help CPSTs find Head Start, you can use this locator guide. Head Starts may be operating in your community without you even realizing it because they don't all say Head Start in the name. The Head Start program calls each of its grantees a center, which might be in a freestanding building or within another private or public school or agency. So using this site, you can enter a location and then filter for a radius around that location and for center type. So here I've entered my home state of Washington, and it's turned up a total of 352 centers within my state. You can zoom in on any of these to see more detail. And if you want to get particular locations, name and contact information, you just hover over it like I did on this screenshot to see more about it. The one that I hovered over has a blue dot, which indicates it's an early Head Start, and there's a clear legend on the bottom to describe the center types by color. So let's talk a little more about those types of centers. This slide gives a rough estimate of the number of children served in the 4 programs of Head Start. So as you can see, the vast majority are in just basic Head Start, which serves children who are ages 3 and 4 at the start of a school year. But there are other types that include some children who are even younger. And as I mentioned, early Head Start serves only children under age 3. Of those kids, over half are younger than age 2 and a quarter are under age 1. And then there are migrant and seasonal Head Starts and the American Indian and Alaska Native Head Starts. And those are going to serve children from birth to age 5, including many infants and toddlers. So it's helpful to think about the various types of Head Start in terms of those child ages, as that's going to give CPSTs an idea of the CPS needs for each of those communities. So while Head Start students are 3 to 5-year-olds, those in early Head Start are going to come to school as young as 6 weeks old. And remember that the pregnant mother is the participant before that. And then both migrant and seasonal Head Start and American Indian and Alaska Native Head Starts are a blend, having both infants and preschoolers, as you can see. Those programs serve many children under age 3, as well as those preschool age children. So you're going to get a wide array of kids who are needing car seats and boosters in those groups. In addition, all of these programs are also required to strive to serve children with identified disabilities, whether those disabilities fall under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act or are other identified delays or suspected delays even. Centers must fill at least 10% of their enrollment slots with children with disabilities. So that's a way to get to know where to find Head Starts near you, and also an idea of the ages of children you'll find there by the type of agency. But there is a lot more you can learn online to prepare before reaching out to Head Start, because each center is unique. We like to say, if you know one Head Start, you know one Head Start. So from the locator link, you can go to the center's website, and naturally you can learn more under buttons like About Us. And here we have who are we and what do we do? So that's going to tell you a lot about the agency right there. And perusing other pages can also help you gain a better understanding of their activities and what their needs are. So here we could go, hey, let's read their recent newsletter. Let's see what career openings are. Maybe they talk about transportation there. So once you've done this and you maybe have followed up with reaching out to the Head Start staff, you can start to understand the types of the 4 kinds of education opportunities I mentioned earlier that's going to be most useful for each center. Because naturally, the students need to get between home and the center. So that's one type of transportation. And it's helpful to know, does the center provide that transportation, or is it the parent's responsibility to get them back and forth? But like I said earlier, Head Start's not like normal school. They're going to be treating the whole child. And so during the school day, a lot of other transportation might happen. For instance, they might go on field trips. They might take students to other school programs that support their particular developmental needs, or they even might take them to medical appointments for screenings or other medical needs. So it's not just back and forth to school. They might be going out during the school day. And in addition, a portion of Head Start is home-based. So in that case, of course, the educator goes to the child's home, but there still could be child transportation involved even in that, because the home-based programs require some social interaction. So they might have some transportation there. And again, they may be transported to medical appointments. So in all of this, Head Start is not required to provide the transportation, but many centers do provide that transportation because often transportation is key to attendance. And Head Start's funding requires each center to maintain an 85% attendance rate. So in areas where maybe they would not get that level of attendance, they need to do something that's going to reach out and provide that sort of transportation to help get kids there. So in that context, it's important to understand that some of that transportation is provided in-house. Now, again, it's optional, but when they do provide it, they have to follow certain performance standards set by the federal government. Or they might contract that out to another organization. That could be a bus contractor, it could be a school district, or it could be any other third-party provider. But again, even if they use this third-party provider, that provider is responsible, must meet the performance standards of Head Start, and the Head Start is responsible for making sure that the contracted transportation provider does do that. So even when transportation isn't provided by the center is required to provide guidance for the use of community transportation for families to help get them there. So in other words, transportation is always a concern for every Head Start center in one way or another. So if that center does provide education, I've mentioned a few times that they have to meet certain performance standards. And not all performance standards have to do with transportation. I've mentioned a couple already in this presentation that are about attendance and about enrollment of special needs, but this is the section that would be specifically addressing transportation that would matter, this 1303 subpart F. And so within that section, 1303.71 is going to require them to do any transportation in either a school bus or what's called an allowable alternative vehicle. And we all know what school buses are. Allowable alternative vehicles under Head Start would be what NHTSA calls a multifunction school activity bus. That's the same exact as a school bus, except for that it doesn't have the traffic controls under FMVSS 131. So in other words, they can't use any vans, they can't use SUVs or any other type of vehicle. If they're providing transportation, it's got to be in a standardized school bus environment. And on these school buses, it also requires in the performance standards that every student must ride in a child safety restraint system, and drivers and required monitors must be trained to use them properly. So that obviously is only scratching the surface of what people would need to know. And so I'm delighted to be able to tell you about the new school bus learning library, which was launched in June of 2023. So before we move on to the other presenters, use your smartphone to take a screen grab or take a picture of this QR code, or jot down carseateducation.org/school-bus to open up a whole new set of materials that you're going to really find useful for learning more about this topic. This is basically the e-learning for the CPS on school buses national training, but you can take this at your at home online in different modules available to you without taking the full course. Now, of course, we would urge you to take the full course, which will give you additional information, including hands-on practice with experts. So to find more about that, go to cpsboard.org/trainings. And of course, there are a couple other resources here for other free information, including NHTSA.gov, and my website, saferidenews.com, under school bus safety, has a lot of of free resources that can assist you in coming up to speed if you're trying to train someone on school bus information, CPS on school buses. So, and with that, I will pass this presentation on to Karen Gay, who is going to talk to us a little more about interacting with Head Start from a governmental programs perspective.
Karen, your microphone is on mute. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Wow, you know, I speak so loud. I thought you all would be able to hear me while I'm on mute.
Almost.
All right, I work for the District Department of Transportation as a transportation management specialist for the DC Highway Safety Office in Washington, DC. And I'm quite sure over half of you have seen me before at one of the conference, because I love coming to Kids in Motion. So we talk about our seatbelt law. The district has one of the strongest and most comprehensive seatbelt laws in the country. The district has a law that allows police officers to stop a vehicle solely because its driver or passengers are not properly buckled up. It's a $50 fine and 2 points for not having your seatbelt buckled at all times. Drivers are responsible for the seatbelt compliance for all passengers. So if you come in the District of Columbia, you make sure that all of your passengers are buckled up. If not, put them out. I always say that. Child restraint law in the District of Columbia, all children under 8 must be properly seated in an infant, toddler, or booster seat according to the manufacturer's instructions. 8 to 16 years old must be secured with a safety belt. And I'm going to drop down to child weights less than 40 pounds or measures less than 40 inches in length and under 2 years of age, the child should be properly restrained in a rear-facing child restraint seat in its place. That's our new law. Now, what I want you all to know that the thing that I like about our child restraint law, if we did not have the child must be 40 pounds or 2 years in order to forward face them, then we have with us according to the manufacturer's instructions, and that speaks volume. So if you don't have that law, if you have according to the manufacturer's instructions in there, then that is considered as a misuse if they're stopped. Drivers who fail to properly secure their children face a $70 fine and 2 points on their license, and then a $150 fine if they do it again. So if you have carpoolers, you know, you always have someone in the neighborhood that they love to pick up other people's children. So you have to think about it. Before you give the neighbor's child a ride, I can write you the check for the $75, but I cannot take the 2 points off your license. And another thing, can you sleep at night? Can you sleep at night if something happens to the neighbor's child that you wanted to give them carpool and give them a ride to school and they did not have a car seat? So we have to think about those things, best practice. So in the District of Columbia, we between the ages of 1 and 5, in 2017 and 9 through 19, our numbers were going down for unrestrained children. And then COVID came and it kicked our numbers back up in 20 and 21. So it often, what I try to think is, what makes people, just because the traffic is not moving a lot, people are not going anywhere, why would you not put your child in a car seat? So this is things that we don't understand. And these are the questions that we ask parents when they come to these events and the children is not buckled up. DC Highway Safety Office, our program is called Project Safe Child, a federal funded occupant protection program for over 40 years. I have been here 37 years and 8 months of that 40 years. All right now. The purpose, we create awareness of the important role of car seats, booster seats, and seatbelts play in preventing deaths and injuries. This education aims to reduce the economic costs and needless tragedies resulting from motor vehicle crashes. Service that we provide injury prevention education. We do virtual car seat inspections, in-person car seat inspections, installation. We give them education. We also offer free car seats through our federal program, safety presentations, workshops, distribution of injury prevention materials. So not only do we educate them, we make sure we give them materials that they can utilize and also pass on. DC Highway Safety Office, our key people are parents. We use our parents, we use the caregivers, we use law enforcement, emergency medical services, health and safety agencies, safety advocates. We use retirees, anybody that we can utilize to get the message across, we utilize them. District of Columbia Public Schools. Our Head Start program, we enroll over 6,200 Head Start students a year. We have 21 Head Start programs in 73 of our elementary schools. We have 9 of our high schools that have early Head Start programs. So if you're in high school and you're pregnant and you don't have to drop out of school to babysit, because we do have that to assist you. Now you may need to change schools in order for your child to go to school with you, but sometimes that's not an issue. But we do have 9 schools. If I'm going too fast, somebody let me know. So we have all of our events, we call them pop-up events. We say pop-up teams, let's go. ARE is one of our Head Start programs. Now, what makes CPSTs and Head Start made in safety? What makes us a team? What makes us want to get together? This is what makes us want to get together. When the parent pulled up in the event, she had these 2 twins and they were forward facing in an infant seat. And you notice they still had the headrest in. So this was one of the cars that I had the opportunity to work with. So when she came in, the first thing that I do is I say, oh, at least you have them in a car seat, so you do the positive first, and that's how you kind of pull them in. And then once we completed with them, I found out that they were 2 and they wore like 27 to 29 pounds. So I moved them to a forward-facing combination seat because the parent asked me, she said, well, can they get a booster seat? And then you got to listen to the parent. And I was like, well, no, they're not at the booster seat age. They're not at the booster seat age, and she could not afford another seat. It was obvious because she had the twins in rear-facing car seats. So the decision was to give her a car seat that harnessed them up to 40 pounds. And then after 40 pounds, she could use it as a booster seat up to 110. So that's what makes sense. And this is what encourages me to team up with Head Starts, because sometimes parents cannot afford the car seat, but we're here and we help them to understand that we do try to help them out. We will help them out if we can. So what makes CPSTs and Head Start made in safety? Our school nurses. Utilize your school nurses because they can get the information out to your parents. Use the school counselors. You have children who come in and they have, the counselor has different resources and she sends things home. So we utilize them. Use your gym teachers. We have gym teachers that come in, they have to create programs, and we come in, we do safety events. at the school, in the gym with the gym teachers, and the crossing guards. We call our crossing guards traffic control officers. So we call them the TCOs. Our TCOs, we have 3 last year became certified. So we have 3 crossing guards or TCOs who are crossing guards. The safety crossing guards, what their job is to ensure that the safety of students and other pedestrians or cyclists as they cross the road while heading to or coming to school. They know everything. They know all the students because our TCOs they go to the same school year round. They're always at the same school. So they know the parents, they know the children who ride to school. They know when the parent does not have a car seat. They know these things. So we utilize the TCOs to pass out information concerning our Booster Seat program and car seat Head Start program. We utilize the Parent Teacher Association because they have meetings. So not only do we do a workshop, a speaking workshop with them, we take them outside to a car and then give them a little hands-on because there's nothing like people touching things, because some people learn from listening and then some people learn better from hands-on. So we give them both. We give them the opportunity to hear me speak and then give them the opportunity to show them exactly what we were talking about. So then we have a voucher program in the District of Columbia, because remember I said we are federal funded. So we offer them a voucher. So you can come to, we have several locations where you can go to and receive a voucher. The voucher, you can receive any seat that you need. Let me go here. These are the distribution sites that we use to send out the voucher. We use 4 elementary schools, and I believe the number has went up, the 4 elementary schools. We use the healthcare providers, any health insurance providers, utilize them. They have patients. They have 6,500 patients in the District of Columbia, like each of them. We utilize them. We use social service providers, Latino American youth. We use all kinds. We use Martha's Table. Martha's Table is a organization that they provide food and healthcare information and all kinds of information to their clients. Mary Center. Mary Center is a bilingual. So is Latin American Youth. It's a bilingual. Do not be afraid to step out and go into the waters that you're not used to. I do not speak Spanish, but believe me, I'm not afraid to go to Murray Center, Latin American Youth Center, because there's a translator just waiting for you to ask them to help you. So believe me, that's what they want you to do. So once they visit these centers, they pick up a voucher and they complete the voucher with their name, the age, or the weight. But if they're pregnant, then we use to be determined, meaning that they get an infancy. And then what we sometimes do is if you do not have a car, we do a demo. If you don't have a car, to redeem your voucher, you bring your car, we do the installation, and we do the installation where we help with the installation. And then if you don't have a car, we use the demo seat, because we don't want you coming from the hospital without a car seat. So if you don't have a car, we're going to show you how to use it with the demo seat with the workshop. And then we provide them with the information card. Now, I altered this information card a little bit, just a little, so hey. Anyway, so the infancy, what I wanted them to know that a child rear faces in a seat up to a certain weight, could be 4 pounds to 22 pounds, depending on the manufacturer. But the convertible seat is also a seat that you use that's rear facing. So I want them to get the concept that your child does not go from a rear facing seat directly into a forward facing seat. So these are the things that we teach them when they come to pick up their seats, and also when we do our presentations at the Head Start classes. And once the car seat has been installed or inspected, we offer them, on the other side is a survey, because I like to know what did they think about this technician that installed their car seat? So this is a QR. What we do before they leave, we ask them, I need you to do one more thing for me. Can you point your camera and answer the 10 questions from this QR? And then it's simple as that. So we do get the information. You know, sometimes people do it, sometimes they don't. We also send out letters. We call them injury prevention educational program letters. Sending it out to the Head Start programs, asking kindergartens, pre-K, all the Head Start programs, would they like some classroom activity? Do they have a day on their schedule that we can come out and talk about booster seats, talk about car seats, talk about infant seats, talk about why it's important for your child to be in a car seat and what happens when they're not in a car seat. So we created a booster seat promotional program when Nissa said years ago that, Nissa said years ago that the use of booster seats was very low. So in DC, we call the kids from age 5 to 8 the forgotten children. And the reason we call them forgotten children is because once they reach a certain age, the parent says, get in your booster seat. Get in your booster seat. So they forget that the child is really not old enough to adjust their booster seat the way it should be adjusted. So that's why we call them the forgotten children. And then, you know, when they come in and say, okay, we're going to talk about the forgotten children. And I like to use that because then parents want to know, what does that mean? What do you mean, the forgotten children? The forgotten children is you forgot that they really can't adjust this seat properly, you know, and that's what it is. And then it's like, oh, okay, I understand. I said, when you take time, a couple of seconds, because it only take a couple of seconds to buckle them up and adjust their straps. So when you talk about that, then they get a better understanding, because you have to explain to the parents the information that they need to know, plain and simple. Just give it to them straight. They do not want you to beat around the bush. Just let them know what you want them to know and then move on. Continuing community outreach, education, distribution of seats to low-income families. Our program don't necessarily, you do not necessarily have to be a low-income family. Our program is for any resident in the District of Columbia, but most time, the people who utilize this program are people who are low income. And we try to reach out to educate residents about the booster seats as well. We increase booster seat use among residents and visitors of low income areas of DC. That is our purpose, and that's what we do. Our primary office, ordinance is the healthcare providers, safety and law enforcement personnel, educators. We try to get everybody, retailers in on what we're doing, the child care, Head Start personnel. We want everybody to come in and do something with this program. This is picture courtesy of I'm Safe. Hey, Wendy, if you're online. We created a poster out of the book, because if you notice on a lot of my pictures, they had the I'm Safe book in their hand, because we really love that book. So what I did was we took a picture, took one of the pages out and created a poster size and said, this is where you go to get your booster seat. You go to police, to 501 New York Avenue. We gave them the telephone number. Child must be present. Let them know that the child needs to be there so we can make the adjustments of the car seat properly. And then we had, you know, one of our organizations, Emergency Medical Services for Children, who also partnership with us. And then we also did it in Spanish, because in DC, what you do in English, you have to have also in other languages as well. We also, remember I said we do virtual format. We do virtual format with DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Those are my big sister and my big brother. So when I need things, that's where I go, Maryland and Virginia, because this here is a partnership. This is not an I thing. You need your next door neighbors to assist you to make a program work. And this concludes my half of the program. This is Nady and Gretchen. These are my favorites. And I am finished.
Thank you, Karen. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now.
I'm gonna stop. I'm trying to stop sharing.
All right. Everybody see that okay?
Yes, it
Thank-
looks good, Melinda. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. At least good morning from Arizona. It's just about 11 o'clock over here. I'm excited to be here and share with you the success of our program, establishing a partnership between Child Passenger Safety and Head Start, Early Head Start. I noticed that there were a lot of people from cooler areas of the world, but shout out to my Phoenix people here. We're suffering in 115 and above weather this week. So, but like I said, my name's Melinda Hansen, and I work for Early Head Start program in a tribal community here in Arizona. I've worked for the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community for 18 years now. And originally I certified as a child passenger safety technician back in 2008, when tribal communities were operating the Ride Safe program. Currently, I'm waiting to attend a one-day recertification class because like some of you, I've been having some trouble finding time to get away for the 4-day research training, or even just a 1 day. So they're kind of few and far between here. Oh, let's see. Here we go. Okay. So this is just a snapshot of the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. We're an urban tribal community located in the Phoenix metropolitan area. The cities that border the community are Scottsdale, Tempe, Mesa, and Fountain Hills. We're not too far from Phoenix, just about 10 miles away or so. We have major highways that go throughout the community. We have the 101 freeway that you can see on the map, and then also the 202 and 87, Highway 87. And so this community in particular invests in the people's future. They have established many businesses that will support the community, the families. So here are a few. We have Casino Arizona, Talking Stick Resort, and if you come to Arizona in the springtime, you know that we have spring training season out here. So we also have the Diamondbacks spring training facility in the community. The Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community is home to the Pima people, known as the Akimel Atham, or river people, and the Maricopa, known as the Hashidon Pipash, or people who live toward the water. Last year, in June of 2022, the total community member enrollment was 10,890, and the Early Childhood Education Center, where I work, is located in the heart of the community. We served last year, we served 24% of the community's children. So the community adopted a primary seatbelt law and child restraint law a few years back. This law requires that children under 9 years old of age must be restrained in a child restraint system at all times. The law also requires that passengers over 9 be restrained in a seatbelt as well. In addition, children under the age of 13 years old cannot be placed in an airbag equipped front seat, and that airbag needs to be disabled if children will be riding in the front seat. So as a sovereign nation, Salt River is able to create and enforce tribal laws that sometimes are stricter than state or local laws. So this is just a snapshot of the entrance of the Early Childhood Education Center, where we have our early Head Start and Head Start programs. Our early Head Start program has, we're at one facility, so other programs have different locations or classrooms throughout cities or in different areas, but we're at one location. Our early Head Start program operates 9 classrooms in our facility, and those age ranges are 2 months to 2 years old. We also have a home-based program where we have 2 home-based educators providing services to about 20 families that include expectant moms and children under 2 years old. Once they transition out of the early Head Start or home-based program, they go into our Head Start program, which is 3 to 5 years old. So those of you who aren't familiar with Head Start, as Denise was saying, we offer a comprehensive services. We provide educational systems, so we have a curriculum in place. We provide health screenings and we link family to resources. We also do safety education in the classroom and for families, and family support throughout their time in the program. What our goals are is to strengthen families and to develop lifelong learners. So we've currently, other than myself, a future tech again, we have 2 child passenger safety technicians on staff in our family services department. So we have family advocates who provide support to families who are needing resources or information to establish goals, and we have them do home visits, or we do on-site appointments, which has been really wonderful. And this upcoming school year, we're going to have nearly 180 children that potentially could be served by our CPS techs. But because of our relationship with the community's injury prevention program, we've seen so many great things. First thing I want to brag about our team is that in 2022, the National CPS Team of the Year was awarded to the Salt River team here in the community. We were really excited. This is just a few of the CPS techs here in the community. These are photos of a couple of classes. One of them was actually one of our parents who went through the training. He's also currently a fire captain here in the community. So it's been really successful program. Okay, so as Denise was saying, transportation services, it's a lifeline to the children in the Salt River community. Our bus drivers and bus monitors support consistent attendance. They keep children safe to and from school, and they offer a safe space and welcome them to school. They're the first face that our kids see. And so we do a lot of training with our bus drivers and bus monitors throughout the year. But our Salt River schools, their transportation department actually has faced some of the same challenges that you may have seen throughout the country. We are struggling to hire bus drivers. We currently have 2 bus drivers, which is so much better than last year when we only had 1 driver for a good chunk of the year, about half of the year. And that was really challenging because we have a lot of children going to school in the community, both here at ECEC and then the elementary school next door. One of the things that's unique to our program is that we also offer trauma-informed education throughout the division. So the elementary school, the ECEC, which is where I work, and then our Accelerated Learning Academy for older students. So our bus drivers and bus monitors are so much more than that to our kids. Okay, oops, sorry about that. And although we're in an urban area and resources are readily available to us in this thriving community, like I said, we face a lot of the same obstacles, and we could use support from child passenger safety technicians with experience in injury prevention. What we have reached out to CPSTs for is things like understanding and interpreting the child restraint requirements for Head Start. So like Denise was showing you, the performance standards have specific requirements for our buses. We have a new transportation coordinator that is just learning all about these requirements right now. And she appreciates the education that she's getting from our technicians and instructors in the community. We also have reached out when we are trying to buy bus seats. So when we're selecting the right seat for our buses, it's really important. A CPST has always helped us with that. Our instructor here in the community, Monty Yazzie, has been critical in us developing a plan and moving forward and updating our seats. We have old buses and we have new buses. So this kind of seat we're looking for could be different. It could vary. We lean on for support for getting education to our bus monitors and bus drivers as well, such as safety restraint use, proper checks, and establishing procedures for installing, inspection, and replacement. And our CPSTs have also provided education to our families, but we also have them providing education to the children here on site. And then there are some obstacles that we have to navigate through in the community. For example, this particular photo is showing you some of the roads within our community. We have these two major roads down towards the bottom. They're paved, but the roads leading up to the houses are not paved. They're dirt roads and they're not marked. So it's not clear exactly sometimes the names of our roads. We also find that in this community, even though we're right next to major cities, we do have farming and agriculture taking place. So oftentimes our homes are adjacent to these farms that have these irrigation ditches next to their roads. They're not fenced in, they don't have a cover on them. And when you're in Arizona experiencing 115 to 118 degree heat, you have kids that are pretty curious and like to jump in them. So we see children from time to time playing in these areas. So we've worked with child passenger safety technicians and injury prevention specialists to create educational materials for families living close to these areas. Another example of a dirt road on the farm that links homes to a major road is here. And you can see the home off into the distance. What happens a lot of times is these dirt roads need work in resurfacing, or there's heavy equipment on them. But one of the challenges with this road is when it rains, when we experience major monsoons during the summertime, this road can be undrivable. It's difficult for a bus to get to and from the homes, which makes it challenging to bring children to school. Something else you might notice is that this road does not have any lampposts or sidewalks. And I just want you to keep that in mind for later. And then finally, we have just a photo of an older road here in the community. We experienced a sinkhole that needed to be worked on. So it closed down this area for some time. But we are making progress here in the community. Unfortunately, the community lost a few members over the recent years, but they've invested in purchasing a lot of these solar panel stop signs that light up in the evening. So where these roads have no lights or no sidewalks, people are reminded to stop at these major intersections where some of these deaths have occurred. And so they're really helpful in the community. But we've also have the Young River People's Council, which is a group of the community's youths who are dedicated to promoting community involvement, and they help provide positive outreach for the youth of Salt River. This group identified a need to respond to distracted driving in the community and spearheaded the development of the no texting ordinance while driving in the community. And this is our bragging point. Some of the children or the young adults that were on this council were actually graduates of the Early Childhood Education Center or Early Head Start and Head Start programs here. So like Denise was saying, it is a mutually beneficial relationship when a Head Start program works with child passenger safety technicians. Together, we're raising the health status and decreasing injuries for children and families here in the community. When you bring Head Start children and families together with child passenger safety programs, you have a match made in safety. American Indian and Alaskan Native people continue to have higher rates of injury deaths compared to other populations. So I really encourage the CPSTs here in Arizona, or if you're near a tribal community, to connect to a tribal Head Start program, because we really need partnerships to grow and to bring AN population in a safer place. In Arizona, where the Salt River is located, and the Arizona Department of Health Service also identified that American Indians in this area had the highest injury mortality rates as well. So again, like Denise said, if you know one Head Start, you just know one Head Start, because each program, although we have the same set of standards to follow, it's different because we take into consideration the community. So we're located in an urban area where we have resources within the cities, you know, just a couple miles away. But in areas like Navajo or Hopi communities, their resources could be, you know, dozens of miles away, and they don't have access to CPSTs like we do. However, one thing is for certain: car seat checks and events and car seat distributions are important in tribal communities, just like in your community. Head Start programs find it critical to establish strong relationships with outside agencies, and we actually are required as part of our performance standards to establish community partnerships. So it's, again, mutual beneficial relationship there. So I encourage everybody today to take some time to find a Head Start program in your area, because there are so many things that you can do. Oh, my slide's not advancing. Okay. So one of the most successful events that we've had, the most well-attended event, is our annual bike rodeo, where we invite our partners within the community and then outside of the community. So here's a photo of one of our Salt River Fire Department technicians providing education, not just on car seats, but also on helmet safety. And then when you establish these relationships, they strengthen and grow to outside of the community, where we had Safety Town from Banner Health Hospital. And here's a photo of that as well. So thank you everyone again for joining us. If you have any questions or like to email me, here's my contact information. I don't have a picture of my cute puppy, but maybe next time. But I'm going to hand it over to Denise Donaldson now.
Thank you so much, both Karen and Melinda. That was fantastic. And like we've said many times, if you know one Head Start, we know one. Well, now I feel like I know a little bit more about a few others, but everyone, you just need to absorb that kind of information. You've given us so much better flavor of what it's like. And I hope that it will inspire more CPSTs to connect with Head Start. So it's time for questions. I only see one in the box so far. So if you have more questions, people, please enter them now. But of course, there's a question for Karen, because Danielle wanted to know, of course, where does this money come from? We always want to give car seats to people. You get 405 funds, probably. Any other sources that you use for funding?
No, just our 402 grant money. Then, you know, we partnership with faith-based organizations. And when you don't have, like if we ran out of car seats, they will contact me after they find out I don't have any car seats and ask me, do we want to purchase? Can they purchase us some car seats? So that's why I said, don't turn organizations down, because you never know who may be able to help your Head Start program.
Melinda, do you have anything to add on that? I'm sure that's a topic that they want as much.
Yeah. So because we work with Salt River Injury Prevention Program, and Monty Yazzie is the injury prevention coordinator. He kind of handles all that stuff, but I do know that some Head Start programs put it in their budget to provide injury prevention services to families, and that could be added to a budget as well. We do, we're actually running this year a superhero car seat campaign for our families, and so we're going to be selecting some families, and we're able to provide funding for that.
Awesome. Okay.
Oh, can I add something, Denise?
Yes, certainly.
So, the manufacturers, JPMA has also distributed car seats to our program. Usually they partnership with us during Child Passenger Safety Week, seat check Saturday, and they give us all kinds of seats. So don't turn people down. When you go to these conferences, talk to people, let them know what you're trying to do, and believe me, they will help you.
Great. Keep asking, right?
Keep
Okay.
asking until they make you go away with something.
So other questions that have come in have to do with getting people who came in late. And yes, this is being recorded, so it will be posted in a couple days. Can you go to the next slide, Melinda? We need to have a few things before we close today to share with you. First of all, we want to, of course, invite you to the upcoming community education and CEU webinars that are scheduled. So the next one's going to be August 15th, and that's going to be thoughtfully integrating equity in CPS programming, super important. And then in September, we're going to have another interesting, and that's going to be a CEU webinar called What Do Techs Need to Know About AVs? And so this has been something that's kind of coming up. There has been some recent new information that you're going to want to hear about. So please sign up for those at cpsboard.org/webinars. And then you can see there's a QR code there. Get your cameras, your smartphones ready for these QR codes, because I'm going to have to go kind of quickly through these to finish up on time. But this one, next slide, please. This one is real important. You can help share the information about preventing pediatric vehicular heat stroke by sharing the national online learning course, Children in Hot Cars. So this is a free training that's available for in the Child Passenger Safety Learning Portal at carseateducation.org. And you can go straight to it at /hot-cars. And the cool thing is it's available in both English and Spanish, and it has been recently updated. So if you did it a long time ago, definitely go back and do it again. It just takes 10 minutes. You get a certificate of completion for doing it, and you can deliver it in a group setting. So, hey, how about in Head Start? Very, very applicable to what we're doing. But you can think of it in terms of an enrichment option for childbirth classes, classes for new parents, for babysitters, as a tool to heighten the safety culture at daycare centers, babysit or other workplace settings. Those are very important because a lot of times kids are forgotten on the way to work. And then, just any other organizational training for people who might need this very life-saving information. And of course, this is top of our mind right now because it being summer, but think about it all year round, because darn if it doesn't come back around, and people need time to be prepared for this. Okay, next slide, please. Here's another QR code you can check out. If you're interested in joining the CPS board, which is the group that brought you this webinar today and does so many other things, including helping maintain our CPS, our certification curriculum, there are 3 positions that are open right now. So you can go to cpsboard.org/board-membership if you are a person who would be within one of these field representative areas, who's interested in a very interesting, having just come off the board, I can tell you it's a very satisfying experience being on the board. You get a chance to meet a lot of great people, work with a very hardworking board, but it's very, in the end, all very satisfying because you get to be part of the solution. So next slide, please. And those of you out there working hard in your programs all across the country, as Melinda mentioned, her team won the team award from last year. And we are looking for nominations between now and August 31st. Please go to cpsboard.org/awards to nominate a technician, nominate an instructor, nominate a team, nominate all 3. You can even nominate yourself. People who are, anybody who's been doing exceptional work in child passenger safety, and we know there are tons of you out there, please be sure to submit those nominations by August 31st. Next slide. And last slide is thank you so much for joining us. As a reminder, this has been recorded, so it will get posted to carseateducation.org within 1 to 2 business days. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a safe day. And thanks for all you do to help keep child passengers safe.
Thank you. And Denise, can I sneak in one last question there really quickly for
Certainly.
Melinda? Melinda, somebody wants to know if they can volunteer as a CPST in the Salt River, Pima, Maricopa Indian community. So should they contact you?
Yes, they can contact me. We do have some background checks that we have to do here because we work for an educational division, but contact me and I can help facilitate that.
And
That
real
would be
quickly,
awesome.
can you share your email one more time, please?
Sure. Let's see. There we go.
There we go. And hopefully they're still on and they can grab a screen grab of that. We always want to connect volunteers to,
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
organizations.
We got a win already with this
Yeah.
presentation. Yes.
Yes. All right, I'm going to stop the recording if there's, I don't see anything else additional.
Thank you.